Welcome, everyone, to episode 314 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantelleresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. Today, Renee Meloche joins the podcast. Renee is an assistant editor. She works with OnSpec. I met her at When Worlds Collide, actually doing my presentation on podcasts. Cool gal. I just thought we'd hit it off kind of well, so I figured, hey, you want to come on my show and just talk about life, the universe, and everything? And she said, sure. Renee's working on her first novel. She's working, like I said, with OnSpec. It was kind of cool to have her on the show. All right, so this is for the month of December. There is going to be surprises galore. Among them, some audio clips of my next book, The Cloud the Diver. I'm just doing a couple little snippets of the book here and there, probably a minute, 2 minutes. I've got some music coming up. I'm trying to get some more music coming up actually for the month of December. It's kind of like a quick and special month. Outside of that, more stuff to announce soon. I hopefully have a release date for Cloud Diver very soon. But yeah, no, things are moving. And really, that's all you can hope for. All right, let's get to that conversation, shall we?
Think you have what it takes to survive? Then get your ass to Mars. Get Your Ass to Mars is the latest simulation sensation courtesy of Indie Imprint. You are pitted against the hostile nature of Mars. Can you survive and pave the way for future colonists? Or will you succumb to the many pitfalls and obstacles in your way? Get Your Ass to Mars, the Dragon Edition, is available now on PC and Steam. Go to indieimprint.com for more details.
So anyway, So I'm going to make sure I got this right. Renee Meloche? Meloche.
Yeah,
yes.
No one here can pronounce it, so you're in good company.
No, it makes you feel better. My last name is Pantelleresco.
Yeah, is that Italian?
Close.
What is it?
Maltese.
Oh my god, you're like the weird, like little cousins of the Italians.
Well, we're not weird. We've been conquered by everybody.
That's exactly right. So, yeah, because Maltese is like a mashup of like Italian and like Arabic almost.
Italian, Arabic, Roman, French, African, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The Maltese people, because Malta is an island, it's always historically when we talk war.
Yeah.
They're a key spot because from Malta you could attack the north and the south. It was even true during World War II when the Nazis were bombing Malta, because that was they who controlled Malta could now control the seaboard.
Yeah.
So Malta's been conquered many times by the Turks, the Romans, the Greeks, everybody. So I can literally say in my ancestry is pretty much every culture on the planet. I am truly a minority in this sense, right? I have a bit of everybody in me, because at some point or another, we were conquered by somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
That's wild.
Yeah, that's my culture's history. But that's where my last name comes from. So what about yours?
I'm French-Canadian on my dad's side, and I'm actually Italian on my mom's side.
Nice.
Yeah, so a little bit of Italian, a little bit of French, a whole lot of crazy.
I got that. When I heard that, it's like, ooh, temper. There's a temper.
For sure.
A temper. But, so I was introduced to Renee when I was late for my own podcast panel. And I was literally actually in this bar, having a drink right over there.
Yeah, so you were only like a floor away.
I looked at the watch earlier, it was 8:30. Okay, I have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Sometime it's coming. No, oh, shh. Right, oh, shh, like, oh my God, right? And it was like, oh well, I'm late for my panel, but I did the one thing that most people don't do.
Yes.
I copped out exactly what I was.
That's true. Yeah, you were very honest. Yeah.
I think I won the crowd over when I did that.
Yeah, I think so too. A little bit of vulnerability. Yeah. You hook people in. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was kind of how I did that. How was my panel?
I really enjoyed it. I don't know anything about podcasting. I've been told multiple times by people that I should have a podcast, but how and why and what would it be? So your panel was like a perfect sort of like introductory, smattering of information.
Yeah, good introduction and a little bit more of advanced stuff, because I've seen me doing well at this. I don't know.
I know. I was super impressed. I didn't know any of your credentials, and then
has anyone popped down to me yet?
No, not yet.
Would you like some menus?
I'm okay.
We're good for now. Maybe it's just some water for now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's been crazy, especially the last year. It's been nuts. I actually just got a sponsor again today for like an office.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It was just real quick, based off that panel.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because you're sort of like in it now where you're gaining visibility, right? And so people can approach you. Yeah, that's great.
Well, my interview accomplishment this weekend was Kat Flannery actually approached me to interview her.
Okay, yes.
That's kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing about Kat. Like, she one of my sister's friends.
Okay.
I met her when my sister was doing like a little book launch in town.
Yeah.
They feel almost like the exact same person. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I feel like they almost
I've met people like
that.
that.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, and so there were a couple times in Kat, if you're listening, I'm sorry, it was true. There was just a minute.
Yeah.
Right? I thought you were that friend, right? Just for that one, right? It's like, what the? Because they almost had the exact same.
Like just
Their whole how they carried themselves, how open they were, how like it's like Kat. The cool thing about Kat is she's a genuinely very open person, and kudos to her success. She's kept true to form.
Yeah.
And I really admire that about her. But then, again, that friend I'm talking about has the exact same cadence.
Okay, I'm gonna like cop to being like a noob still in this community. So like, who is Kat?
Kat Flannery is an Amazon bestseller, top 100 Amazon bestseller.
Awesome. What does she write?
Oh, lots of historical stuff.
Okay.
Historical romance as well.
Yeah.
I actually was hoping to talk to her about a book, but she had to go because she was doing some stuff. But it was just like really cool. Really, really cool that I got to meet her, and it was actually an honor to do it. I also got Tracy Posey.
Okay.
She's done over 100 books.
Yes, I was at her panel about a panel that she was on about working around a day job, which is definitely something that I was like, I need to know more about this. Yeah.
So here's I came to this theory. So when I was in my early 20s, I had two jobs. I was working at Kinko's, which actually, right, during the day, and at night, and on weekends, I would also work at a gas station.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's exhausting.
But no,
Working more than one job is just
terrible. But so I would have between 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I wrote for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I passed the book out. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid. I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm not stupid. I know I need to sleep. Right. So, but I took the little time I had to make the most of what happened to it. Right.
Yeah.
And really, what I realized as I've gotten older is people do exactly what they want to do always.
Yes.
The trick a lot of people get caught up with and distracted with, right, is there's so many distractions out there. Right, there's so many distractions out there in regards to, okay, I can write, but I can also go on YouTube, and that's a scary rabbit hole. YouTube is the absolute scariest of scariest.
YouTube is terrifying, yeah.
Yeah.
And now we have Netflix. Like, we didn't have Netflix when I was a kid, so...
I'm not old enough for Netflix.
You're not old enough for Netflix? You're too young?
No.
Like, what is that?
No, I'm not mature enough. So this is...
I see. Yeah.
Because, so here was my line with Netflix. Daredevil, binge watching Daredevil is understandable. Daredevil is a good show, especially the first season.
Yes, I was going to disagree with you, but I do agree that the first season is good.
Yes. Watching an entire series called Kill la Kill from Japanese animation in one I got, man, I had a problem. I couldn't say it right because the problem with Netflix is it's so easy to keep going. Right? It's so easy to keep going.
There's just periodic parts where they ask you, "Are you still alive?" and watching, and you're like, "Sure am."
Yeah, exactly. You don't even think about it. Yeah, you don't even think about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. So after I watched Kill la Kill in one night, and while,
oh my God.
Yeah, I decided that I was not mature enough for Netflix.
Yeah.
It's going in my author bio, by the way.
I can't use this without supervision. Yeah.
Yes. That's also true with Kickstarter. That's also true with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I have an impulse control.
Yeah.
So I've learned that as far as I go, right, I have to be very, very good with what I do.
Yeah.
And that's why I never got into World of Warcraft.
Oh my God, yeah, such a time suck.
I love RPGs, but I don't play those kind of MMOs because I know I will never leave. I'm wired that way.
Yeah. Man, there's so many huge obstacles to people, especially people like me who work full time, finding the actual time to write, because in the society that we live in now and the technological zeitgeist, we have unfettered access to all of these things that occupy your free time.
Absolutely.
So there aren't any walks where you don't have your phone with you anymore that you could just like plug in a podcast or something. And a lot of like old authors used to like go for walks like in nature and just have time to think, like meditative time, and we really don't have that.
We do, we do, but it's a harder okay, here's the deal. I can leave my phone at home.
Yes.
But if I do that, someone might come to me, hey, would you like to do your podcast?
Yeah.
Hey, can I do this? You have to. There's a risk management factor that you're going to miss out on
Absolutely,
something, right?
Yeah. And if the expectation is that you're always going to be accessible, right? You have to like kind of find that balance. But no, yeah, the panel touched on that too.
Yeah. That's literally it. Like, but I do know this. It doesn't matter who you are. So the worst excuse I've ever hear with people is I don't have time.
Yeah, and that's bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
You do have time, but you have to give something up. Like, I don't play video games as much as I want to because I prioritize my writing or editing or whatever else, right? I don't watch as much Netflix as I want because I want to prioritize my writing. You can always find time for stuff, you just have to give up something else.
You have better self-control than I do.
Yeah, a little bit. But I also sometimes have to do like what you just talked about where I leave my phone, or I was talking to somebody about how like Google has like a timer feature for apps where you set a limit of the time that you can actually be in the app before the phone locks you out of it, which is a great thing. If you have no impulse control and you can't trust yourself to like just not look at it, do that, right?
Yeah. So what's your video game crack of choice? I'll tell you mine, you can tell me yours.
I like really low commitment stuff because I don't have enough time to play. So when I like actually just want to shut my brain off, I've been playing Oxygen Not Included. Have you ever played that before?
Yeah, I haven't played that one, no.
It's so much fun. Oh my god. It's like a little colony that you have of like these little mindless people named duplicants, and they're trying to build their way out of like crash landing on an asteroid.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to manage all of their resources and like build up technology. So like you build a research station and all this stuff. It sounds super boring, but it's really fun.
No, it's cool. No, for me, it's card games. Hearthstone, Shadowverse.
Oh yes, yeah.
I love Shadowverse in particular because for me, I need mental stimulation. Mm-hmm. Or I get bored easy.
Yeah.
So when I'm kicking the crap out of somebody or getting the crap kicked out of me by somebody, it actually wakes you up and gets you focused. It's also card games are just glorified math programs, and as weird as that sounds, doing those kind of math problems actually wakes you up because it turns on your problem solving part of the brain.
Yeah.
So when I'm done, I'm mentally mobile, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think that would appeal to me if I had any capacity for math. I really suck at math. But yeah, I like feeling in control of like what the environment that I'm interacting with is, and there's no like more control than essentially playing God with like little animated beings, right? Yeah.
So I have a book called The Stick Figure Revolution.
Okay.
The guy I'm working on it's it's my golden storybook.
Okay.
Dr. Seuss style scripting. It hurt my brain to write like that. I gotta let you know that. Hurt my brain hard. Right? It's about these stick figures who revolt against their creator because they weren't pretty.
Oh no. It's like a cautionary tale that I should read.
Yeah, it's a cautionary, because one day they'll come for you. They'll be like, hey.
We know what you've been doing. You let us die. Yeah, oh my god.
Duplicate. It's like, you may duplicate me a million times, but one day I will rise.
They are. They're like little clones.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to write? Is writing a novel kind of is like kind of your Twitter bio?
Yeah. So writing a novel kind of. So that's been my like actual real life bio since I was like 14. So I've always wanted to write, and in the last year, I actually you just had Jessica Renwick on your podcast. So we were talking about this, and I said to her, when I turned 30, I decided like I was finally going to get serious about like writing and taking myself seriously as a writer. And she said, me too. And I was like, maybe this is a thing, like where, I don't know, at 30 you're just like, well, I guess I should stop wasting time. But I'm working on a novel right now, on a manuscript. But the way that I sort of like detoured into OnSpec and editing for them was because I was reading a lot about how to troubleshoot manuscripts and how to do the thing that a lot of people never do, which is finish the novel that you started writing. And one of the recommended things was to write short stories.
Yes.
Because it forces you to learn story structure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, short stories are where I suck at. That's actually the one art form that I
Yes.
totally suck at.
Yeah.
I can do comics.
Yeah.
I can do poetry.
See, but I would argue that like comics are a form of short story.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Because I don't. The artist does the heavy lifting in a comic book.
But you still have to have a narrative structure.
No. You do.
Yeah.
But hear me out. Hear me out on this, right? When I'm constructing a short story, the biggest thing about a comic book, the biggest difference between a comic and a short story's biggest limitation is time. You only have X amount of words
Yeah.
to get a experience out on the page.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Now in a comic book, even though most of my words are invisible,
Yeah.
I can have diarrhea on the script. My artist will kill me. right. Like, what the fuck is this? Right?
Yeah.
But I can write as many words as I want. The stuff you actually see from me on the page is very small.
Yeah.
Most of my writing, most comic scripts, ladies and gentlemen, most of the actual writing is hidden, right?
I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
Well, I've never written a comic book script.
Because most of what you're doing is actually you're almost like it's almost like you're playing God. It's actually a different way of playing God.
Yeah.
Right? You're telling your artist the significance of a scene.
Okay.
Putting a scene together. It's much like a screenplay in this sense. You put your
So you're doing the blocking.
You're blocking the screen. You're blocking out the story. But the thing is, the difference between a comic script and a screenplay is motion. Screenplays have motion built into them. Comics create the illusion of motion. The passage of time is how a comic tells a story. Whereas a screenplay, that is a natural part of a screenplay.
Right.
The dialogue and the action in a screenplay tell the story. Whereas the comics is passage of time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's the difference between them. It's not a big difference, but it is a difference.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm writing primarily to an audience of one, which is the illustrator that's going to illustrate this, right? So what I'm writing to, first issue is not so much, especially if I've never worked with somebody before, I don't know their strengths and weaknesses. Now when I see an issue they've drawn come together, okay, I know what you do really well, I know what you're comfortable doing, I know what you're not quite so comfortable doing, so the second script's a little bit more tailored.
Yeah.
I emphasize the strengths of the creative team, and I try to hide the weaknesses as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. That's what you're supposed to do as a comic script. Now there are some comic writers who don't do it this way. Mm-hmm. Some of them hurt my brain. Some of them are pros, and because the other reason you do this too is artists are creative people.
Yeah.
Give them an opportunity to be creative. They will actually come up with something that might be better than what you did.
Yeah.
But it takes a. But I also understand it takes a little. You have to be willing to. Although you're kind of playing God, you have to be like, okay, you know what you're doing. I trust you.
Yeah, it's God with collaboration, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference. A short story. Okay, we can talk about this conversation, and I can have all kinds of crazy stuff happening in the background. Maybe Cthulhu walked by and drove everybody mad.
Yeah.
And that's the story going on around this whole coffee conversation, and this maybe a horrible breakup story that's going on while the end of the world is happening around us. And maybe I should write that story because it sounds actually really fun.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but that experience is only at most. You can write a million years in a story, but you only have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 words. Right? So your space is a lot more limited. Right?
So you have to get to the point
A lot better with a short story. Whereas a comic, I can have diarrhea. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Would we like to order anything or just go with water?
I think we're just going
But that's the deal, right? That's how it works, and that's kind of like so shorts are hard.
Yeah, but that's why I think they're so valuable. And it's funny because when I started writing, I loved reading novels, right? And most people who write, the readers. So I was like, I want to write what I like to read, and that's novels. I'd never read a short story anthology, I didn't read short stories in publications like magazines. And I was actually really almost disdainful of that that medium. Like I was like, oh, whatever, short stories. Like anybody can write a short story, but it takes like real grit and like, you know, dedication to write a full-length novel. And I think that's such a like wrong-headed attitude.
Absolutely.
It's completely wrong. And so I'm actually really glad that I started with OnSpec because it forced me to confront the lie of what I had believed about short stories, and then also learn what true mastery of the format looks like.
Don't get me wrong. Novels are very hard to do.
Yeah.
But they can cheat in some ways short stories can't.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I have 80,000 words.
Yeah.
I can play around a lot more if I want to.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I can't play in a short story.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Right.
And I will say, like to your point earlier, that if you only have 1,000 words to 5,000 words, when I'm editing, if I see a word count that is close to that 5,000 mark, I'm thinking this person doesn't know how to write a good short story, because it should be shorter, and it's very rare that something that long is going to be as concise as you want a good short story.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, because if it is 5,000 words, so let's go back to that end of the world story here.
Yeah.
Right. Cthulhu has to be like fighting like Godzilla in the background.
It's gonna be goddamn good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's like Cthulhu's fighting Godzilla.
Yeah.
Right. I'm getting pie in my face, and I'm crying in the background, and you know, the breakup doesn't matter anymore because no one's paying attention to me. It's all about the monsters at this point. And then it took 5,000 words, and it was gratuitous. But you know, I also know this too. There's inner fanboy, and then there's correct editor.
Yeah.
Sometimes inner fanboy does win.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a struggle, I think, for a lot of authors. I went to a discussion, a panel yesterday about research, and a lot of the questions that came out of that were like, well, if I spent 16 hours doing research, how do I get that all in my book? And it's like, well, you don't.
You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to, and it's hard not to want to indulge that, right? Because if you're really impassioned on a subject that you spent 16 hours researching, you're like, I want to tell everybody about this. I'm going to put it all in.
But that comes, and this is something I'm learning now because I'm doing a lot of research on trans movement right now, because my second novel deals with body modification, and I'm having some fun with it too. I have a character in there called Hate Music. He actually modified himself into a giant boombox. So the very first scene in the book too is my main character getting punched in the face by Hate Music, and Hate Music's whole dialogue is rap lyrics.
Oh my god!
Isn't that fantastic?
Yes.
Right. So Hate Music becomes love music by the end of the story.
Nice. I like that character.
It's
built-in.
It's a built-in character. All right. Hate Music becomes like music. I don't know if they're gonna let me use My Heart Will Go On at the very end.
It's copyright.
Yeah, because of copyright issues.
You're gonna get a letter from Celine Dion's lawyer, but it'll be in French. Can you read French?
I can.
Okay.
Brokenly. I'll get the gist.
Yeah.
Please refrain from doing.
Yeah.
I don't know that word, or else there will be. I'm assuming that's legal blank. I think I'm going to assume that's consequences. That's actually probably a safe bet here, right? And that's how.
See the dollar figure for the fine they're going to send.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, I don't know what that word is, but I'm fairly certain I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So, but the thing about that, right, is. Right, you have to figure out what serves your story.
Yes.
So when I'm dealing with the trans movement, the thing is, I'm going to spoil this. My main character is there's a drug in the story that actually changes genders in people as a recreational deal.
Interesting. Okay.
Right, it's a recreational deal. But the idea is you can mod yourself to be a different person for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Right. He goes to a party and gets roofied essentially into becoming something else.
Okay.
But here's the deal, right? This is what I'm researching. What I'm really caring about is the tone of the story, as you can tell, is relatively light.
Yeah.
But I cannot disrespect what people are struggling with there.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a very fine line with that. Look. If I woke up tomorrow with boobs, I'd be a little curious as to how that happened, right? I think it'd be a natural reaction.
Yeah.
And you can do some jokes with that.
Yeah.
But how many jokes can you do with that?
Yeah.
Right?
And when Yeah, you're touching on like a couple of different really interesting things too, because you're looking at gender as a construct, you're looking at secondary sex characteristics as a way of identifying gender, you're looking at non-consensual gender transition because he gets roofied with a drug. So you're straight into some sensitive territory.
That's right, and I'm not stupid enough to realize that I'm wise enough to realize that I'm doing so. And when I do the draft of the story, the first draft of the story is going to be a traditional edit job. But after that, I'm going to be like, okay. I go to the people, as many people I can. I've asked an agent friend of mine that when I'm ready to do this, put the call up for sensitivity readers. Right.
Yeah.
Because I know the student, and I will talk to them and kind of explain what's going on. For the purposes of the story, right? Because the villain of that story is a shape-shifting assassin.
Okay.
That doesn't identify as any gender.
Okay. Non-binary.
Non-binary, a perfect non-binary person.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which is one of the goals of that evil corporation, is to create a soldier that's literally built like that. Right. So that I'm a little bit more comfortable with, because that is going to get played a lot more serious. Right. But when I get to like the parts where he's got to explore being there's one character in there that actually is completely uncomfortable in her own skin. I reveal why in that story.
Okay.
But also just my main character. It's the idea that, and this is something I don't fully understand, because I don't identify that way at all. Is I'm a man and I'm very comfortable being a man. I don't have any, but I feel like a woman, I don't have any, I feel like a different gender, I don't identify.
Body dysmorphia.
I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, and body dysmorphia is a really complicated and interesting topic, because it grips people in very different ways. Like there are people who have no self-awareness of their own physicality, but then there are other people who their body dysmorphia is more tied to their gender identity. And as you said, I'm a woman, I'm a cis woman, so I've always felt like a woman. But there are times where I've been like, wouldn't it be nice to be a man? Like that would be so much easier. And that's not the same thing as having body dysmorphia and having like a trans identity.
And like I said, this is not a trans novel. I don't want everyone to get that right. But it's dealing with this, because I do see this. We're coming to a point where people are going to completely be experimenting on their bodies, and a good science fiction story explores the future.
That's right.
And I can very much see something like this happening.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's a politically loaded issue, but even in terms of just getting it right, I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you wanted to write something emotionally resonant if you didn't really explore.
I have to, So I interviewed a lawyer who defended the very first trans custody case. That's what was my first little bit of research. I'm probably not using actually very much of it.
Right. But you're immersing yourself.
A little. Like you said, I'm not going to pretend when it's over I still am going to fully understand it. And I think I'm really debating doing this, and this is something I haven't said to too many people. I came from I'm not gonna say like the charismatic Christian movement, and one of the things this podcast has actually taught me is it's killed a lot of the prejudices I did have. That doesn't mean I didn't have them though at one time. I don't know, like this is almost like the kind of book where I could at the very end and kind of explain the evolution of how my thinking process has evolved in a way, because like I gotta be honest, I mean at one point I definitely was a bigot.
I was raised very conservatively as well. I was raised Roman Catholic. And I was an adult before I came out as bisexual publicly. And for a long time I couldn't even deal with that in my own self, because the teachings of the church were really clear. And I had friends who were gay and had come out and faced backlash from their family and the community. And so I just chose not to even engage with that part of my identity. I was like, no. Like I'm just not. And
it's also you're in a really weird thing, because so the biblical concept is new wine cannot exist in an old skin. Right? That concept actually applies, because what happens is there's a format that might have worked out once upon a time. But the world has changed. The world has changed. I don't have the luxury of being prejudiced anymore.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, everything is different today.
Yeah.
And everything is becoming more and more different tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why when the shift happened the way it did. It's a legitimate curiosity. I don't think people fully understand. But I also feel like it doesn't really matter on the other hand too. But this is the way the world is.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that you have to adapt or die.
Yeah, I think that like if you're raised a certain way, the thing about the church, and not to like sidebar this into a rant about the church, but
I can tell you some stories when we're off the air.
Yeah. There's a lot for sure. But what I will say is that a lot of the church's sort of point, or the way that they create cohesion in their parishioners, for me Catholic parishioners, right, like their community, is that it's a closed system, right? So you understand the dogma of your faith, and anything that exists outside that sort of not only flies in the face of that dogma, but also should be stamped out and eradicated, and in some cases like converted, like forcibly converted. And I think that when I started getting away from the church and kind of looking around and understanding things, a lot of stuff made me really uncomfortable, and there was a lot of moments for me of like cognitive dissonance where I was like, I grew up with this teaching, I know that this is wrong, no being based on what I was taught, and I'm being confronted with a choice. Either I can choose to see it a different way, and that it's not wrong, and that people can love who they want to love and express their gender in a way that's not threatening to me, because I mean, if somebody is trans or non-binary, that has no impact on my life, right?
Yes.
Or I can continue to live in the mentality that I've been taught, right? Because there is a certain amount of comfort because it's familiar,
Well,
right?
it is familiar.
Yeah.
And like I said, the other thing too is you got to look at the fact too that you were raised this way to believe this is right.
That's right. Yeah. And the alternative is like fiery hellscape. Like it's not
guilt.
Like,
guilt is a very powerful.
guilt is a powerful motivator. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh no, you control a populace with fear, guilt, and shame.
That's right.
You can
and shame especially creates isolation, and so if you think you're alone in something and you're an aberration, a freak, an anomaly, you're more likely to sort of like shut that part of yourself down,
or at least hide it, hide it, right? And I ended up living in a Mormon community for 2 years. Two very, very, very wild extremes.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you have the righteous, proper way of doing it, and on the other hand, you have 3 meth houses across the street.
That is insane.
But that's how it works. If you have too much, again, this did not happen overnight with me. I love variety.
Yeah.
I love variety.
Yeah.
I don't understand it all, but I don't need to understand it all.
That's right.
I don't need to. It's just healthy that people are different. It's healthy that people are unique. It's healthy that we all stand out in our own ways. And I'm not even just talking just like, whatever your sexual preference is, whether you're binary, non-binary.
Like culturally too.
Culturally, not even culturally, even personally. Look, we look. There is only one Renee. I'm gonna try to say your last name again. Meloche. There's only one Renee Meloche.
Yeah.
She came once ever.
Yeah.
That's it. You are a 1 in 250 trillion possibility. That means you've overcome incredible odds just to be here.
Yeah.
So this is it. There's only one of you.
Yeah.
Now there's 7 billion human beings. So depending on how you look at it, you're very ordinary or you're very extraordinary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you take the extraordinary route, well, you're only you, and you're only going to come once. And anybody that you meet, is only going to see you once.
That's right. Yeah.
And never see anything like it again.
Yeah.
So you should stand out because there's only you.
Yeah. And you can find that value in everybody, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of why I do a podcast like this. I get to hear these wild stories, and I hear about people doing crazy things. So you've done short stories.
Yes. Yeah.
So have you written short stories?
Yes, I have written short stories. I have not had any short stories published because I still consider myself a beginner. Last year, I was one of the finalists in the 2018 Writer's Digest short story fiction competition. So I placed 11. So I didn't crack the top 10, but I got some really nice feedback, and I was technically paid with a gift card to the site.
That's right.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's still money, but yeah.
Sweet. I got paid in coupons. Yes, I'm on my way.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really rewarding experience for me, and I really enjoy the work that I do for OnSpec in terms of finding really good stories and then getting to work with authors to get them published, because that's part of the editing process that I was really new to as well. And I worked with a particular author whose story that I did not champion. I was like, no, I don't think we should publish this. I didn't like it. It just didn't speak to me.
Yeah.
And it made it through the voting rounds, through the editor's table. We decided we were going to buy it, and I was assigned that story to work with the author to get it into publishable shape. And I was like,
Diane would do that. Yes. Diane would do that. Yes.
So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But it was such a good experience for me because it forced me again, just like with thinking that novels are superior to short stories, to reconfront my own biases, be like, what works in this story regardless of my opinion on it, and what doesn't work, and how do we get this to be the best version of the story, right?
Yes.
And I got feedback from the author that I worked with who said that he thought that at the end of our editing back and forth, when we finally got the version that we wanted to publish finalized, he said he thought that it was the best version of the story that he could have had.
Well, yeah, because I learned this lesson working on my day job, in that I don't have to like something to work with it.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I don't have to. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice when you get that.
Easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't need it. What really matters is, can I cooperate with this person?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't have to be pleasant. It doesn't have to be joyous. There's a problem when we don't have to like each other, but we should be able to at least say hi. That's kind of that's kind of where I'm at.
But this is a perfect full circle comment to looking for the value. There's unique value in every person.
Yeah.
Everybody is an individual, and you got to be able to find something, especially if you have to work with them. You really don't have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to find it. So
yeah.
So let me go this way. So you started doing your novel? Are you still doing your novel?
Yes, I am still writing, and I actually attended a couple presentations here that I think helped push me into the right track. So yeah, I'm still doing it.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be finished. I think the first draft should be finished by December of this year, hopefully.
Congratulations.
I'm still working 40 hours a week, so let's not discount that.
So I call my day job a sparkle muffin.
Because the podcast is your day job?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So Liana K, has a show called Lady Bits.
Okay.
She had created a Princess Toadstool-like character called Princess Sparkle Muffin, which is right.
Yeah.
So it talked about always being the damsel in distress, and then she played that. She also played the evil, stereotypical, because this is the damsel in distress in video games episode.
Okay, yeah.
It's basically the stereotypical evil woman. So you get to talking, booze eventually comes into play, and Princess Sparkle Muffin under booze is a hot mess. So when I look at my day job,
aren't we all?
some are bigger messes than others.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Some are lukewarm messes.
Or some are just funny because they've got their liquor courage up.
Yeah.
There's only very few train wrecks,
okay.
right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The train wrecks are like, oh God, no, you never should go near this stuff again because you
stop drinking forever.
Yeah, it would do you good.
Yes.
But so my day job is I work in a warehouse. I see dumb things. So
Sparklemuffins.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does it totally make sense now?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I also say when things go wrong, sparkle, sparkle. It tends to actually make things a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Actually, it's zen, because here's the thing, right? If you can look at a problem, any problem you have, you close your eyes and say sparkle, sparkle to it, and have a smile on your face, you own your problem.
That's true. Yeah. You're not running away from it.
No, you may not have a solution to the problem.
No, but you're acknowledging it.
And you own it, right?
Yeah.
It's no longer about you. And also, here's the other thing I've learned. Anger is not rebellion.
Yeah.
Joy is rebellion.
Yeah, joy in the face of adversity, I would say so. Yeah.
Is ultimate rebellion.
Yeah.
So if you can look at an obstacle and you can go like that to it, it doesn't matter what it is, you have a huge advantage over everybody else. I am literally the least stressed person at the day job.
That's great.
Yeah, because that's it.
Especially if it's a sparkle.
Yeah. It's going to be my author bio. So my author bio, this is my author bio. It's going to be, I'm actually getting a friend of mine who does photography for bands. They have a cool little band studio place.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to be boxing a kitchen sink. I'm actually going to do a story where there's a tale of tape between me and the kitchen sink. On my side, I'll be not mature enough for Netflix. I've written stuff. And then it's a kitchen sink. It's a kitchen sink.
Yes.
All right. And then the second book, the kitchen sink wins.
Nice. Okay.
The referee is drinking with the kitchen sink because he doesn't know what the hell happened.
I like that you're like, it's super meta because you're like creating a story like in your own author bio.
No one does it.
Yeah. It's like is it a lost art if it never even existed? You're just making inroads. You're pioneering.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just
bio format.
Well, it's also like, here's the thing. We live in a world today where we talk about the fact that we're breaking molds and cultures and everything like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the structures of how we've done even fiction, why are we? Some of these things can be changed, challenged, and be creative with. And why not play?
Yeah.
I don't. Did you go to my Dr. Seuss panel?
No, I did not. Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay. You missed out on a great time.
Yes, I'm sure I did.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna get in trouble with the amount because of the noise we made. So that's okay. But there was an assignment I ever had in kindergarten. This is how I always look. This is how I look at creativity. Okay. You take a marble.
Yep.
You dip it in paint, put it in the box, and you roll it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's cool.
I feel like we did that too.
Yeah, some of us got to do it. People that actually did that is one of the most valuable art lessons ever.
Yeah.
Because it gives you permission to make a mess.
Yes. Yeah.
And it can still be beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? Because those marble paintings all look sweet.
They do. They're so cool.
Yeah,
yes.
right. They do look sweet, and it's a very simple thing.
Yeah.
I find that creative people, when we get older, we take ourselves seriously. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We should have drive for our art to be as good as we possibly can be.
Yeah.
But why can't we have fun at the same time?
Yeah, everything is so serious and there are stakes. And it's funny because I think about something. I have a dog. I have 2 dogs instead of children, which is fine. And one of my dogs is like a high needs problem dog who like lived on the street and has all of these behavioral issues. So we got a trainer to come and work with her, and one of the things that she said to me that really resonated on like 17 different levels was like, when my dog was a puppy, she didn't get enough time to experience things when she still had confidence, because you know how like kids have like, it's like, where do you get your confidence from? Like, it's completely unfounded. They just will do anything that they want to. They'll pursue what they want with abandon because life hasn't come and like knocked them on their ass enough times for them to learn. So they're in this like learning period where they're trying different things, they're experimenting to see what works. And I feel like there's a fatigue that sets in as you grow and the world keeps saying no and closing doors in your face that like kind of like wears down creative people, and it does like really bum me out. It's like, I speak from experience, it's happened to me, and I want to see more people throw themselves into their creative pursuits with abandon. Like, do it, make a mess, like see what sticks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I didn't bring them today. I have a unicorn pen I write my novels with.
Nice.
I've entertained you quite a bit.
Yeah, you have. I'm like learning all of these facts. Well, I didn't know because I didn't listen to your podcast, so
Yeah.
It's all new information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So I always sometimes it's the only thing I don't like about my podcast. I repeat myself a lot, but I also realize that I'm talking to a different person each and every time.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so
and besides, you're creating brand consistency. People out there in podcast land who are listening want to know that you still have your unicorn bag.
Yeah, that's right. I actually, so Winston's daughter has the same unicorn pants. So I have one too. It's like, I'm okay with this. I'm very okay with this.
Yeah. You're in good company.
Well, yeah, there's that, and also my sister bought them for me. So it's kind of so.
That's sweet. Yeah.
So here's how the unicorn thing came about. My sister actually in my novel goes to me, hey, listen, you want to do a unicorn? Can you put a unicorn in?
Okay.
Right. So it's the Matrix meeting. There's this novel. It's like a novel. The first. The concept is the Matrix meets Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can make a spam about this unicorn.
Yeah.
So the first thing I was plotting was how to kill it.
Okay.
She read my mind. She's like, nope, you cannot kill the unicorn. She's also my little sister.
Yeah.
And then she gets really insistent. It's like, you can't kill it. She gets like this kind of half hour. It's like damn it, I can't.
Siblings, they're the worst.
Yeah, I know, they can't do it, right?
Yeah.
So I did it. So then Virginia Stark started doing I mentioned the unicorn. She gave me a Unicorn of Fart Rainbow's signature.
Okay.
So I just went with it. And then, so when Trump got elected,
Yes, the day we all cried.
No, actually, I made everybody laugh that day. This is what I did. Okay, guys, I have a Unicorn of Farts Rainbows that needs a name. You know you've gone to something very fun when Robert J. Sawyer himself actually recommends a name.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right. No, it's like, that thread was insane. It was like 50 plus comments. And then a couple podcast guests actually came to me with lists. See,
wow.
So this goes back to my whole point.
Yes.
You give people a reason to play, they will play.
Yes, yeah, you give them permission, right? Instead of, because people can be so self-limiting, they put, the only person putting, like, limits on you is you.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Practically speaking. So, if somebody else comes along and is like, hey, guess what we're going to do? People totally get on board.
Yeah, because it's fun. Right.
Yeah.
I learned this, my very first book signing, I did everything wrong. Everything wrong you could possibly, except for this.
Okay.
So the store was a essential oil store, and located in a really hard. There's no signs. It's hard. It's in the back of this like invisible little plaza.
Okay.
This is what I did. I had the owner's son print out these giant arrows, and I taped them to the street.
Okay. That's so cool. Did it work?
Yes.
Nice. That's awesome.
Every age followed those arrows right to the store. And they didn't all go in. That's not the point. But they engaged in the game.
Yeah.
And this is what I learned. I've always taken this with me wherever I go in terms of how I approach my books.
Mm-hmm.
How I approach people want to have fun, especially today. You don't want me to tell you, please buy my book, because honest to God, you probably hear nothing. You're like, please, no, shut up. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, so listen, would you like a shirt that says Sparkle Sparkle? Sure. Want to play a game?
Yes. Yeah. There you go. See?
That works.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
I get on Diane a little bit because I think this is my only criticism of the science fiction genre in general.
Yeah. I'm ready.
For a futuristic field about possibility,
Yes.
you're very staunch in how you present your work.
Yes.
And I think that's a flaw.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot.
I've said this to Diane. That's why I'm saying this to you.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot of even that kind of like rhetoric, like during the conference this weekend, because people were asking like, well, I know this is a genre convention, but why can't I do it this way? And the response from like an overwhelming amount of panelists was, because you're not famous enough. You haven't built up a body of work that supports that kind of deviation. And I was like, well, what about the people whose like fame or platform is based on them breaking away from conventions in the genres, right?
It's time so here's the deal, right? If you stand out, so this is the risk, right? There's a risk reward aspect to it.
Yes, yeah.
I think this is the thing, right? If you choose to stand out, the risk is people will go away because it's so different.
Yes. Yeah.
However, this is what I found personally. I look at this. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a pro wrestling fan. The characters that worked in pro wrestling stood out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like against the background.
They right. So, and the reason why, now here's the thing, it took them longer to get there.
Yeah, okay.
It took them longer to get there. But once they got there, they stayed there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're like everybody else, you get to the top quick. You get to the top. You can get to the top relatively quick if you're good enough. You're confident enough. You get there. But here's the problem: once you get there, unless you are exceptional, right? Which in this case you're standing out anyway, and that actually validates my argument.
Yeah. But if you get to the top with everybody else who got there, how do you stand out?
How do you stand out, right? Right. And so what eventually happens is your time's up and you go back down to everybody else's level.
Right. Yeah, it's like flash in the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you look at an author like Stephen King. He still stands out to this day, and that's why he still has all the books he has. Yeah,
and if I can like throw something back at you that I thought was amazing from your presentation yesterday, you talked a lot about success, and one thing that I thought that if I could sum up your view on it is that success has to find you working. You cannot just expect accolades for nothing, and you have to just keep working.
Absolutely, no, you never stop. You win an award, you still don't stop.
That's right.
You get sponsors, you don't stop. You talk about a Godzilla and King Kong having a wrestling match in the background of a big breakup story, you don't stop. You have to keep going.
Right. You change it from Cthulhu to King Kong and Godzilla because you forget your own references.
I had a lot of alcohol this weekend.
I mean, you're holding it together remarkably well. I'm impressed.
Well, no, I am somewhat of a professional. Somewhat.
As much as you need to be, for sure.
That's my secret. Yes, actually, you actually understand that very well. I get the feeling, Mia, you're probably kind of similar.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I do have that like Italian Malta connection, so.
Yeah, that's all right. I think we've had a great interview. I wish we could talk a little longer, but I unfortunately I do have another interview after this.
Go.
But we're not quite done.
Oh, that's true.
You got to do one more thing.
What do I have to do?
You got to plug what you're doing in terms of your literary accomplishments, and then you got to tell how people can find you.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna skip the plugging part because I'm not there yet.
No.
Okay.
No, you don't get that out.
Well, man. Okay, I have published some short stories on my website, which is reneewrought.com. So it's ReneeWrought, because I think that it's funnier than Renee writes. And you can find me all across social media under the same handle, so Renee Meloche. And I am drafting my first manuscript. So once it's done and maybe has passed through a couple of like editing and then sensitivity reader type deals, I might look into self-publishing.
Good luck. Yeah. And when you do, you're welcome to come back.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was awesome.
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
And that was my conversation with Renee. Feel free to take a look at every month OnSpec. OnSpec is one of the great Canadian science fiction magazines. She is a contributor part to it, as well as she's working on her first novel. So Renee, listening to this, I hope you're well. I wish you luck. And when you do have your first book out, let's come back on the show and do it again sometime. All right. We got one more When Words Collide chat, and that's this Friday. Tony Phillips was my last chat from When Words Collide. It was a doozy, a fun chat. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. And then we get to close out the year. We're down to pretty much 4 more chats for the year. Kind of a fun little extra for the Christmas week. And beyond that, we'll see where it all goes. I'm hoping, like I said, to have a release date soon. Like soon. But like I said, it's been moving, slowly, but moving. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podomatic. I am there. My books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, CurseMirrorWorldPublishing.com. Definitely check them out. Buy some, leave reviews on both the pod and my books. If you like them, share them. And if you think they're good, talk about them. Let people know it's out there. I greatly appreciate that. Beyond that, my YouTube channel is Joshua Pantellaresco. My Twitter and Instagram is at jpantellaresco. My Facebook page is Joshua Pantellaresco, writer, podcaster. Stay inspired. Chase your dreams. And I'll see you guys later this week. All right.
Josh.